Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 12:51. Our next case is Mr. Brian Hughes. Mr. Hughes, would you please introduce yourself and give us your DOC number?
My name is Brian Hughes, 538367.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and then we're going to allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. Once they do that, at the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process?
Yes, sir.
Those persons here in support of you today are your aunt, is Tammy Sauceda, your aunt Angela Messer, and your mother Linda Averett. This is the matter of Brian M. Hughes, DOB, date of birth October the 24th of 1988. His DOC number is 538367. He's classified as a fifth felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of June 27th of 2022, an adjusted good time date of August the 15th of 2036, full term date of February 11th of 2037. He is currently serving a 20-year sentence on the charge of possession of methamphetamines after having been adjudicated a habitual offender. Mr. Hughes, is that information accurate?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hughes, your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. Would you please answer any questions she has? She'll begin our interview process.
Yes, sir.
Hello, good afternoon to you. So we meet again.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you too.
How's it going?
It's going pretty smooth.
Oh, good, good. I saw your last hearing was April the 5th of 22. What have you done since then?
I've got a job working in maintenance for the prison.
Okay,
And I did a lot of work throughout the prison, repairing, replacing, and fixing things.
the panel had mentioned something about you need long-term substance abuse treatment. What have you done about that?
Well, I signed up for Living in Balance. That's the only other program at this facility. And I never made it into the Living in Balance because it's such a long waiting list. And I've been going to AA and NA for probably a year and a half now. And
Okay,
I also reached out to some outside help to a sober living home in Alexandria with Brandon Chattinger at the Bethesda House. And I'm seeking parole to parole out there to a sober living home.
yeah, we did get the letter in the file. I saw that. So in AANA, what step are you on?
I'm not exactly on a step. We go through the steps.
Okay.
And we read them and talk about them. But far as individually working steps, we hadn't been doing it like that.
Okay, I got you. Okay, okay. I was just curious. So how long you been in jail on this charge?
Going on 7 years.
Going on
around about a little over 6.
almost 7 years of a 20-year sentence. How old are you today?
34.
You're 34. Okay, you're a fifth felony offender. So how many of those 34 years you spent in jail?
Several.
How about how many? Give me a guess.
I really don't know how to guess.
Okay, just I'm just gonna give you time. Just kind of calculate it.
Probably at least 1,000.
You know, how many
Where-
years you've been in jail? Now, of your 34 years of living, how many years? You already spent 7 on this charge, and you're a fifth. Aren't you a fifth offender?
Yes, ma'am. Probably 10, 10,
About
12
10
years.
years. So this is the longest you've ever served.
Yes, ma'am. This is my longest sentence.
This is your longest sentence ever. Okay.
Yes,
I saw, when I look back at your history, you did the impact program back way when the impact program was a popular thing. You completed that, got revoked when you got out. You did Blue Walters in 2012, got out and started back using, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You remember Blue Walters in 2012?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you've had opportunities in the past.
Yes, ma'am.
But
But in the past, I was young and immature, and I wasn't preparing for my future, and I didn't think about consequences for my actions in the past.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You got your high set in 2010, right? That's good.
GED.
Your GED, yes, sir. Do you know a trade? Have you learned a trade?
I'm learning electrical.
Okay, you learn electrical just hands-on, but not in school, huh?
Yes, ma'am. They don't have a school here for it. So
Okay.
what I learn is hands-on.
Okay, good, good. That's good. And experience is very good. Experience is a very good teacher. Now, if I say you have a poor supervision history, would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Definitely.
What would you do differently? Since you said you're older now, at a ripe age of 34, you're older now. Okay.
Well, I would be more responsible, and I would get up every day and go to work. And I would start my day off with making sure my attitude and myself is lined out and focus on myself mentally and prepare. I would start my day off by preparing myself for that day.
Okay. Now, you do have law enforcement opposition. When I say law enforcement, like the judges, the DA, all that, we get their opinion about early release. Because the judge did sentence you to 20 years. So, we have to ask them, their opinion anyway. There was something mentioned that in 2018, you got released in error. Do you tell us about that?
Well, January 19th of 2018, I was released from a jail in Monroe, and I had a life sentence at that time, but I was under direct appeal through the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, and around that time, I won my appeal, and they sent the paperwork in to me saying that my sentence was vacated and overturned. So I was released. Well, whenever I was released, 3 months after I was released, I was thinking that my charge was over with, that it didn't exist because the sentence and conviction was vacated and overturned. So I thought there was no more charge. 3 months later, a parole officer pulled up at my house and wanted to know why I haven't reported. And I explained to him, well, sir, I don't have a charge anymore to come and report to you for. Why would I come and report? I'm not on parole. I don't have a charge anymore. My sentence and conviction was vacated and overturned. I won my case. And he didn't know anything about that. He didn't know anything about the appeal or me winning the appeal, and he's never even seen the paperwork. Well, by the grace of God, I still had a copy of the paperwork. And I went inside and got the paperwork, and I brought it to him, and he read it. And he asked me, could he have that paperwork to bring to his supervisor? That way, he could show it to his supervisor, because they didn't know anything about it. They were saying that I was released on parole, which I didn't know that I was released on parole. I thought my sentence and conviction was vacated and overturned. That's what my paperwork said. Okay. So I didn't want to give him the paperwork because that was the only copy of it that I had. And if he's saying that he and the parole officer supervisor, nobody knows about this paperwork or has this paperwork, it's my only copy, I really don't want to just give it out. But I did. He promised that he would bring it right back. He was going to go make a copy, show his supervisor, and bring it back. So I give him the paperwork, and he left, and he never brought it back. He never come back. So I thought that everything was taken care of. He never come back and talked to me about it, and he never brought the paperwork back. Well, a few months later, I was at somebody else's house, and while I was at their house, a person living there had warrants, and the law enforcement pulled up to arrest that person. Well, they seen me there, and they pursued interrogating me about how I got out of prison and what I was doing out of prison. Well, they arrested me. They arrested me and put a parole hold on me. Well, I'm telling them that I'm not on parole, that I didn't have any warrants on me. There was no reason for them to arrest me in the first place. So they put another possession charge on me, and then put a parole hold on me so that I couldn't bond out. And I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand the situation of what was going on because I wasn't on parole. And if I was on parole and I haven't reported in 3 months, they would have put a parole warrant out on me. So that showed me that I wasn't on.
So you've been in jail ever since then?
Yes, ma'am. I've been in jail since that day.
And that's the current drug charge that you own.
Yes, ma'am. That was for whenever they picked me back up.
So there was drugs at the house where you were.
I'm not sure if there was drugs there. There wasn't no drugs in the arrest. If you read the report, there is no amount of weight of any drugs. It was an empty bag. They found a bag and said that the bag had residue in it, and then put a possession charge on me, put another possession charge on me.
Went through court, and here we are today. You got sentenced in 2020 on that.
Yes, ma'am. I went ahead and pled out to it and got it over with, got it behind me. It was
Okay.
being drug out for over several years and not being resolved, so I went ahead and took care of it and got it resolved.
So you come from a life sentence to 20 years.
Yes, ma'am. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So do you think you need long-term substance abuse treatment?
Ma'am, to be honest with you,
Please be honest.
I don't think that I need the treatment, but I do want to go to this program. That way I will have a support system behind me. If I do have any problems or anything occurs, I have someone I can talk to. I have somebody that's backing me. That way I don't have any chance of slipping or going backwards. I have a positive support system that's going to stand by me and stand behind me if I do need them.
Okay. When the last time you used anything?
The day that I got arrested.
And when I interviewed you last time, you said you started using drugs at age 12 or 13. You remember saying that?
I did start using at an early age, but the question you just asked me, I thought you said when was the last time that I used?
I did. That's correct. That's correct. So I'm just saying from 12 or 13 until 2018, you were still involved with drugs. That's what you're saying. I just want to get for my brain, get a point of reference. And you're 30, what you said, you're 34 today. 12 or 13 till you were like 32, you were using. And you don't think you need any more long-term substance abuse treatment. You think you know everything you need to know to stay sober.
I do not know everything that I need to know, but far as the desire or wanting to use drugs, I know better. I know that there's a bad consequence that comes behind us, and all it takes is just one time. Just using one time, one drink, or using a substance one time, it throws you right back into full relapse.
Yes.
And the only way to avoid that is just not doing it. Don't take that first one.
And you got good head knowledge. And you do have a low tiger, you have moderate needs, and it's high in substance abuse, which tells me you need long-term treatment. But ain't no sense in sending you there if you don't think you need it. That's just a waste of expensive resources. And you got high in employment, but you're working on that, trying to get you a work skill. I'm glad to hear that. I'll just sit back and listen and hear what everybody else got to say. And the warden, we want to wait for the warden to come back, or you guys want to share on here?
Ms. Wise, Warden Thompson had to step out for a minute, but I did get a chance to visit with Brian Hughes yesterday, and his conduct record is very, very clean, no write-ups. And he does work in our maintenance department, and he helps out a lot. He does a lot of work. But if anything, I think we would all agree that substance abuse is his challenge, and any services that he could get would be very beneficial to him.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. All right, thank you.
Excellent question.
Okay, great.
Okay, Mr. Hughes, just to point out, that you hadn't just been sitting around there idly. I looked and saw all the certificates you received since your last hearing, a bunch of Bible courses, and crossroad courses. So I mean, my main thing is to show that, since the last hearing, even though you didn't get long-term substance abuse, which I really concur with Ms. Wise, I think you need it. I think it would benefit you. You said something that really caught my mind, and that you do realize one drink, one drug, and you're gonna relapse. And I think you're misunderstanding us in that we feel this long-term substance abuse would set you up with the programs you need, the AA, the NA, the sponsors, to where if you go to relapse, you can make a phone call
Yes, sir.
and try to get the help you need. But that's all I wanted to point out,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, now we'll hear from your supporters. Your aunt, Tammy Sauceda. Ma'am,
Yes, I'm here.
if you'd introduce yourself and please tell us what you'd like us to know.
Yes, sir. I would like you to know that Brian is a good person. He just made bad choices. I've had experience firsthand with Brandon Chatanier. My son went through his program in Alexandria, and I had a very good reports for Mr. Brandon. He's works with these guys to bring them, helps them, re-enter. He works with them. He will even put them to work. He has his own business, a landscape business. Because if Brian does decide to go through this program, he'll have to pay rent. It's like $500 a month. He provides everything. He provides, he'll have transportation. He'll pick him up, take him to work, drop him back off. They go to meetings at 7. It's called 7 at the Pentecostals of Alexandria, the church. He will have a really good support system. They all pull together, and he'll have people, like if he does start getting depressed or down, someone to talk to. I also want Brian to know that I'll be here for him if he ever needs someone to talk to. His cousin, I have one that's at the Oxford. He's president over the Oxford, and he will also be willing to sponsor Brian. I believe, with all the support he has, he's missed out on so much of his life. He even lost his grandfather when he was incarcerated. So it hasn't been easy on any of us. It's really been hard, like for the holidays and his birthday, him not being here. And my sisters cried. I mean, it's been hard for me to see my sister in this shape, and her not having her son at home. And I just really think Brian has the opportunity here that he can actually go to school and become an electrician if that's what he wants to do. He can do anything he wants to do with the support system he's got. He's just going to have to seize the opportunity.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. Now we'll hear
Thank
from
you.
Miss Angela Messer. You're on mute, ma'am. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
Good, that's okay, thank you.
Okay. I would first like to say that I know that Brian has a strong relationship with God. He has a lot of faith, and that's something that's happened since he has been incarcerated. I know he's made some bad choices in life, and he totally acknowledged his wrongs, and he's taken every opportunity to work towards his sobriety and his freedom. I personally have seen how the sober living that he's speaking of has helped improve the lives of those struggling with addiction. So I do believe that it would help Brian, and I believe that's the right track for him to go. I just think that if he's given that opportunity, that he'll be our next success story. Sorry. I feel like Brian's ready to be a productive member of society, and he has a great support system. Like my sister said, we're all backing him up. We're all here for him. And he knows that he can call us at any time. I just like to say Brian is a very good worker. He's a hard worker. He worked with my husband roofing, which is not an easy job. And my husband said that he was the best worker that he had. So I just want to add that. I just hope that y'all give him the opportunity to get out and be successful. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Now we'll hear from Miss Linda Everett. Miss Everett?
Okay.
We can't seem to get in touch with her. We see her on the TV, but she can't hear us and we can't hear her, and she's not answering her phone. It goes to her voicemail. So I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
We're just going to go ahead and proceed. Is there anything that you'd like to say, Mr. Hughes, before we vote?
Yes, sir. I would just like to say thank y'all for this opportunity and for giving me another parole hearing. And I hope and pray that y'all find it in y'all's heart to give me another chance and help me make it back home to my family and give me a chance to show y'all that I can be a productive member of society.
Thank you very much. Is the panel ready to vote? Yes. Okay. Ms. Wise?
All right, Brian, you presented well today. I was a part of the group that voted for your rehearing because of the good programs you've had. Let me ask the warden this. Warden, is there any way you can get him moved up on the living in balance list 1 and 2 within 9 months?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can make that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So Brian, I just I mean, you're a young man, you think you got it figured out, and I just think that that you should know better than we know. I mean, we're just reading records. So my vote is to grant after you complete living in balance 1 and 2. And 2, the sober living house in Alexandria that you believe is going to be a success. And I'd like to see you do some community service, doing something in the arena of helping people stay drug free, whatever that may be. Because you know how to do that. You know how to stay drug free, at least 4 hours a month. And probation parole, they do random drug screens over your period of supervision. I'm just one vote, but that is my vote.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Freeman?
Mr. Brian, I too think you're very smart. You know, if you can stay off drugs, then you can be successful. Like you said, if you slip one time, it's gonna be all over but the crime. I mean, 5th felony offender at your age, that's a lot. So my vote today is gonna be the same. I'm gonna grant conditional on you completing that living in balance 1 and 2. On completion, you will be released under the same conditions that Ms. Wise stated.
Mr. Hughes, you have 2 votes to conditionally grant your parole. I agree with my colleagues. My vote would likewise be the same. Your parole has been conditionally granted upon your enrolling in and completing both phases of living in balance. The warden indicates that we can get you in that program within the 9-month period of time. So you ought to be able to finish that program. And when you do, we hope you'll be going to the sober living house in Alexandria, and you'll be doing you want him to do his 4 hours of community service work after a couple of months. He's been out.
Yeah, after 6
After
months.
you've been out about 6 months, we want you to do 4 4 hours of community service work, random drug testing, as well as 3 AA meetings per week. Okay, you understand your conditions?
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
You can call your mother and tell her what happened. We couldn't get her on. We saw her, but we couldn't hear her. But we knew what she was going to say.
All right, thank you.